What's up, guys? Welcome back to a live trading video. I'm going to jump right into this video without much delay because we do have a trade here that is a short-term trade, much more short-term than I usually am trading, but due to the elections environment, we have a lot of volatility, and there was a setup that I really liked, so I ended up taking it this morning. Let me cover it here with you before I jump over to the chart. Basically, I liked NASDAQ 100 on the 15-minute chart, looking to go long here off of a brief pullback that we've seen so far this morning. Now, this is much more short-term than I usually trade. Usually I trade the 1 hour, 4 hour, and the daily chart, but just given the nature of this week and looking at the higher time frames first, I've come up with the conclusion that I wanted to look for some short-term buys just because momentum to the upside seems very, very strong today. And I wanted to capture some of that, see if it wanted to run. If not, I would just stop out relatively quickly. And that is what you can see reflected on the screen here. So this support zone, after price broke through the point here, I wanted to get in long on the retest. So I ended up taking a trade there with a stop just below this zone that I had drawn in. And so far it's looking pretty good. In a second, I'll pull up the chart, but let me just also briefly kind of share what I had said. So markets are still pushing higher overall. And as the NASDAQ underperforms today slightly, I'm going to take a small buy position at this support zone and trend line. Let's see if this one can move. So actually, let me clarify what I mean by that. I ended up taking a look at the other major indices in the US here. You got things like the S&P 500, the NAS 100, and the Dow 30. Okay, so those three markets, out of the three markets, the NAS 100 was actually underperforming. Now, NASDAQ is a lot of tech stocks, which I personally am bullish on overall. And as tech stocks dipped here this morning, I wanted to buy into that just because the election momentum is so strong right now and bullish markets are still very much in heavy swing. So I jumped into a trade, and now let's go take a look at the chart and see how it's going so far. So you can actually see at this point, we have already moved stops up to break even very quickly. Momentum here in this morning is just powerful for the election, the post-election kind of, or the election's not over, but during the election, we're seeing that momentum to the upside really start to kick in again here this morning, and things are going very well so far. So again, I took my initial trade right here, as you could see. We're on the 5-minute chart. Let's actually take a look at the 15-minute chart here for a moment. But you can see these markets right now are moving. They are like just continuously just pushing one way or the other, and they've swapped directions a few times, but overall I like that bullish momentum and wanted to be a part of it. So you can see higher lows being formed, higher lows anticipated right here, and bam, we took that trade and launched off of that zone of support very, very quickly. We are actually hitting 3R here, so let me actually pause the video, update members, and go ahead and move stops to 2R in profit here, which is crazy how fast that's happened. So I'm going to try and move quickly and share that with members. There we go. I just shared the update there with members. We can pull it up. You can see we just hit 3R in floating profits, and I just locked in my stop at 2R for a trailing stop there. So details incoming. I shared the updated alert, and let's go take a look at what's going on now. Look at that. Before we can even look at it, we are hitting 3R smoothly. I've moved my stop up to 2R locked in profit. That's going to be really good even if price comes back and tags that, which very well may happen as we do come into a previous level of resistance. Now, what I've done here is, again, I've locked in my stop at 2R. So if price comes down and tags me out, I will take that profit, no problem. But if we are able to break through this resistance or the high of the day here, it's going to be a very, very interesting time to see if we can go ahead and lock in even more on this trade. I will be back shortly with you guys for an update very quickly. I'm sure this will not take long before it starts moving one way or the other. So either ways, I'll be back with you guys for an update just in a second. All right, guys, and there it is. We just locked in 3R here on the trade. You can actually see we did break through that previous high. We're still very, very close to the stop now, which is, I'm hoping to see it keep going up. But either way, is very, very happy with how this trade is going. So we actually hit the 4R marker, which for me, I'm going to go ahead and trail that stop into 3R. So we moved from 2R there, locked into 3R. That's 3 times my initial bet here, locked in as profit in the worst case scenario. So very, very happy with how this one is moving so far. If price keeps going, we will continue to trail. But otherwise, it's looking like we very well could see this one stop me out here, which I'd be happy with either ways. But if price moves higher, it's going to be one to continue to watch. So I'll keep you guys updated. But again, just sent out to members that I locked in 3R there on the trade, and we'll see how this one goes from here. All right, guys, this is becoming one of the craziest trades that I have taken in a while here. We absolutely blew through the high of day here. We actually just hit 5 4R on the trade, and I just moved my stop up to 4R. So I'm sending this out to members to let them know that we have just moved stops up into this point. This is like the fastest 5R trade I think I've ever had in my experience as a trader, but it's just due to this massive volatility here as the elections unroll here in the United States. We are seeing a massive catalyst, and it's looking really good for Biden right now, which interestingly enough is actually pushing the market higher. Now I'm going to say this just purely what I feel like could be the case is maybe the fact that Biden could push for a stimulus package here in the United States. The previous time we saw a stimulus package, it was very, very good for markets, and that actually could be the case coming here into today's trade. Regardless of political opinions, that's another talk for another channel, but for the most part here, as we do see this market push higher, we have locked in 4R here on the trade, which is very, very interesting to say the least. So that's one of the best trades I've had here so far in the last few months. So we'll see if this one can continue, but I've moved up my stop to 4R. If price trails out and just decides to stop me out, then no big deal. And this, guys, is the scenario where I am happy to use trailing stops rather than just setting a hard stop, right? I could have set a 3-to-1 and taken a 3-to-1 here, but we've actually been able to lock in 4-to-1 just by letting this trade trail. So if price continues, it is again the same story. If price keeps going higher, we will continue to trail stops higher and vice versa. So the entry there was literally nearly perfect. You can see we barely caught any drawdown before stops were moved up to break even and continued higher. Now this is not how most of my trades play out. I want to be completely honest about that. Trades do not usually work out this nicely, but this is the power of being a trend follower and catching the right moves occasionally, is you get these sort of trades that run in your favor big time. So currently floating 4R in locked in profit and pushing past 5R as we speak. We will see if we trail out, but either ways, I will keep you guys updated and let you know what I do next. All right, guys, and there it is, out for a total of a 4R profit here on the NASDAQ 100. What a crazy trade. That one just exploded in our favor here. You can see in the 5-minute chart, we just had one bar after the next that was green, and thankfully here, when price tagged us out of the 4R, we are just out of this trade because price very much looks like it could continue to go down here for a minute. So very happy to take that trade. Let's actually see what this ended up being. So the entry was here, the target was here. So that ended up being 1,719 pips. Now this is a little bit different than standard currencies. Indices behave a little bit differently, but you could see a really big move there on the NASDAQ 100. So very happy with how this trade played out. I hope you enjoyed this video of me live trading during the elections because it's a crazy time and probably not recommended for everybody, but I took my trade with a relatively tight stop and it worked out in my favor. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back in the next video.